Good evening everybody, and welcome to this, the Fireside Chat of the 5th of June 2016 of the Common Era. That's Anno Domini to those of a more religious bent. Now, we are here with a plethora of leopard footage to show you this afternoon. On my far right, of course, the enormous, irascible and very loud Brent Leo Smith.
Hello everyone!
He has been at some time employed as a foghorn when the foghorn in Cape Town broke. That is toward the shifts off the coast, of course, and the much better looking half of the Leo Smith-Patterson combination, Jamie Leo Smith, Patterson. That was totally by mistake, everybody.
Oh my goodness. That was not funny.
Her hair is smelling like beautiful flowers. She's just washed it. It's rather marvellous. We've got wood smoke coming out of the fire, Jamie's shampoo from the right, and you are about to see some wonderful footage of the leopards that we have here. We're going to go straight into it with a clip of Tingana, my very first sighting of her. Take a look at this.
Everybody, this is a 4-4 female leopard with a leaf on the golden leopard. You can see how gold this leopard is, with 4 spots on each side. And Raisa, you reckon that this must be in Tingana. So exciting to see a new leopard, and I guess very distinctive, those two sort of very wide, almost eyebrows from which her whiskers come. Now, where are her babies? I forgot, of course, that she's got little babies. Here we go. Ah, wonderful. Just gorgeous. She's going to come down with her. She's small, hey? She's about the same size as Karula, I'd say.
Astonishing sighting there, and look, we are just getting used to this Facebook Live thing, so you got us probably talking over that clip. I do apologise. Sorry. Very, very pleased. We didn't say anything too untoward. Anyway, in Tingana, you haven't seen her.
I haven't seen her. I'm starting to feel a bit left out.
Sorry for you.
I'm the only person, I think, that hasn't seen her yet. It's a yet. I thought I saw her, but it turned out to be Tandy.
Ah,
yeah.
Yes. You've seen her?
Yes.
With her cubs?
Yes, I've seen her 3 times now. 4.
And the cubs?
Once.
Male and female?
Male and female. Very, very cute. Male slightly bigger, slightly more bold, but both of them really relaxed around the vehicle, past 30 centimeters away from the tire, and actually went around. We didn't know where to look. We had a leopard cub on either side of us. So it was a very special sighting, yes.
These difficult decisions we have to make every day.
There's very tough decisions to make. Anyway, my first sighting of her, and she is what we call a 4-4 female. I said that in the clip there, I think. And for some people, that's often quite confusing. It's basically, she's got 4 dots, 4 unique dots on either side of her face, and how you do it is you look at the leopard's face and you read it from left to right. And so she's 4-4, well, it doesn't matter, you can read that from right to left and it'll be exactly the same. But if you looked at Karula, for example, she has 3 on her right, our left, and 4 on the other side, and that's how you do it with the leopards. So that's the 4-4 leopard, and she is a noticeably different colour from the others, and of course, Brent, you and I have waxed lyrical about the lineage from which she comes. Your favourite leopard being?
Shidulu.
From
the Sand River.
Yes, and from the same lineage.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, those leopards are noticeably golder, for example, than Shadow and Tandy and Karula, which of course come from a sort of pale race. Where you used to be up in Makalali?
Much golder than Shadow. Similar.
So a more common colour and bigger females.
Yeah, bigger females.
Okay, it wasn't because you were younger and smaller. Maybe.
And still rivers.
I have got so enormous since.
Yes, she hasn't really. You can see she's a waif. Okay. So that's in Tingana, and that's our new leopard on Cheetah Plains. Wonderful to see her. But on the way to Cheetah Plains the other day, of course, I was driving along and stopped, arrested by my attentions by Shanae of Nkoro, and she said, in her sort of New Zealand South African accent, she said, "Good news, Tandy's in the tree over there." So we drove along, and there she was. Have a look.
What we have there, everybody, is a jackalberry tree on the way to Cheetah. Now, a jackalberry tree in and of itself is quite an attractive thing, of course, but it is made infinitely more attractive by what one might find lying in the shady boughs of a jackalberry tree. There is Tandy, daughter of Karula, sister of Shadow, and either very fat from a vast meal or quite possibly pregnant. Now, this is very embarrassing, everybody, but I have to confess to you that it isn't a jackalberry tree, is it, Viam? No. It's a tambuti tree, isn't it?
Oh, you know, I said that James found Tandy here, and we've just found Tandy here. Now, we've got to be exceptionally careful, nice and still, no sudden movements, no loud breathing, just in case we interrupt the signal. But we do have a sleeping leopard in a glorious tambuti.
So that was an amazing sighting. I really enjoyed that quite a lot, apart from the horrible misidentification of the tree.
I'm so upset you got ahead of that before I could mention that.
Yes, that's why I opened up. Yes. Yes, it was very difficult to identify everybody, very cleverly disguised as a jackalberry. It wasn't, it was just an appalling effort on my part. Anyway, it was a very big tree, and I suppose we shouldn't really talk about the tree when there was a leopard there, but it was a very big tambuti growing on a termite mound, so that's why I got it wrong, and piffy to you if you say otherwise.
Well, Jamie got it correct. And look at that, she's sitting in a beautiful tambuti tree.
I must have told her on my way back, otherwise she too would have made the mistake. Your first sighting of Tandy?
My first sighting was a good few months ago in the Mawati drainage line.
That's a great raging torrent that runs
yes,
through
the great river that flows never. But I found her there mating with Tingana, and then I saw her in exactly the same tree the day after you did, in exactly the same place, on exactly the same branch.
The tambuti tree.
Yes, that one.
Yes.
The big one.
Now,
the big green one.
Masquerade as a jackalberry.
When was she mating with Tingana? Because I think we all saw that. You and I saw it, in fact, and then we found on Ingwe Ali we saw it, and you had her in the Mawati. When was that?
It was exactly close to 100 days ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just over 3 months.
So we've had her mating with Tingana twice. So the first section of mating didn't produce a spog, but the second one, hopefully, yeah.
And she did, I mean, your opinion of that very fat belly.
It's very difficult to see. She was lying up. She'd had a Dacre kill a couple of days earlier, but the fact that she was in the same tree, in the same place, she would have finished that kill by then. I couldn't see another one, and she was looking very round from what I could see. It's impossible to tell from the view that we had, but I suspect she might be.
It is interesting to me that it's around a termite mound. Now, I haven't ever seen this, but you've seen leopards using termite mounds as dens, haven't you?
Yep.
Shadow did.
And Shadow did, and in Botswana it's actually not that uncommon. We don't have the nice...
Yeah, you've got no rock.
You got no rock, you got no blatant river system, so you got tree islands, and the best place for a leopard den is a termite mound.
So it's quite possible, everyone, that big fat belly, well, yes, I'm sure it was full of Dacre, prime cut, but it is also quite possible that the rear end of her is looking that distended because she's about to give birth, and that she's lurking around that termite mound, perhaps.
And another interesting thing is that Karula, Shadow, Tandy, Gowrie Main.
Yes, that's actually very true.
All on main roads if she decides to den there.
That's the southern boundary of our, well, was the southern boundary of our traversing. Right, now, on to the proud father of all these cubs. Well, I didn't see him the other day. Jamie had a wonderful sighting of the territorial. He's really established himself properly now. Have a look at Tingana telling us about himself.
And Shamel has suggested that instead of looking concerned, Tingana looks somewhat relieved that he isn't having to deal with the attentions of so many. Yay! This is incredible.
Really quite an extraordinary sighting, and in a way it made up for the month that he deserted us. And I say he deserted us, he was here during that month, we didn't find him. He went past the Juma Dam camera, so you all got to have a lovely look at him in the middle of the night, and then he walked straight off the property. So that was the first time we had seen him in just over a month, and it was a truly enjoyable sighting. He really is, he's a beautiful leopard. He's all sort of head and shoulders and very little neck. He's got an enormous tulip.
He's like a prop forward.
Yes, exactly.
That's not a linebacker, the opposite of a linebacker in the States. One of those guys who bashes into the other guys. Now, Brent, you heard about Mvula the other day. Now, where is he?
So, from the Panthera data, the last place he was seen was actually on the Singita-Londolozi boundary, down near the Sand River.
Okay, on the Ravenscourt boundary.
Yeah, so okay. I think he's ducking and diving, he's running, he's trying not to be not to bump into any dominant males. But I don't know if you picked up from the Eastern Channel. Now, Tingana's got a bit of a reputation for eating his own children, but he is on a kill with Shadow and the cub.
Oh,
really?
All three of them are sharing a kill just south of us. So,
fantastic.
And apparently playing with the cub, so it looks like maybe his cub eating days are behind him.
Now, the reason I brought up Mvula was the fact that Tingana, obviously, territorially marking his territory there. He's calling to mark his territory. He really is it as far as this place goes now. He's taken over Mvula's territory pretty much. He's pushed further and further to the east, and to the west, of course, is Anderson. How far west is Anderson moving while I was away? Any ideas?
He was
same.
around in Marikeni, same.
So that's the western boundary of our area. And Tingana is now basically it. And I don't know...
No, there's my friend.
There's your friend.
My friend from the north. The ghost from the north.
The ghost of the north.
I think he might have got a little bit of a beating from Tingana, or at least
But I had his tracks again.
Did you?
Yes.
Brent, of course, fixates on these things, and that will be his now favourite for the next 3 months. Well, that's good to know, and with any luck, we'll find him again. The ghost of the north, a.k.a. Djuma, somewhere between 5 and 7 years, we think. Okay, let's move on to the Queen now. Of course, she and her 2 little babies doing very well, unfortunately not spending nearly enough time around us, a lot of time to the south. Anyway, have a look at her.
Is Queen Karula. Both cubs are apparently here. I can't see the cubs at the moment, but we would normally just see a little bit of movement to a tail flick from the little ones, so they're probably also doing the same as she is, and resting up. There it is. Look, there it is. There's the little one. And look at that. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So, very nice of the Queen of Juma to let us into this little... So it wasn't the greatest sighting we've had of her and those cubs this week, but at least we saw them, and both cubs were there, and very well. And as James just mentioned, she's been spending a lot of time to the south, and I think the reason she went straight back south, and the one day she comes up, catches an impala, that night she gets hyena and a male lion, robbing her of that carcass. So I think with the other predator densities at the moment, now that could change very easily. The lion densities in the south could start becoming a problem, and we might see her back in the north. But great to know the cubs are alive and well, so if she has to keep them to the south, to keep them alive, and we're not going to question her judgment. Oh, for the last little bit of the Fireside chat, something we've been missing, and I know you all have, is Commander Bond on the guitar.
Yes, well, thank you. Thank you so much. I bought a new guitar, everybody.
What's its name?
Its name is John.
John?
Yes, it's named after John Butler. Yes. Some people call their guitars after ladies. I do not. Well, if I find a lady guitarist, I might find one eventually. Now, I wrote a song a while back called Owls. I printed it out today. I then did not put it in my guitar case, and I had another song here in my guitar case that I played a bride down the aisle with while I was on leave. I'm going to call it the universe telling me that I should play this song. It's called Kingdom Come by Coldplay, and the words, of course, are, for you I'd wait till kingdom come, and I suppose that might apply to all of the leopards that we're seeing at the moment, which are not on our property. Right, everybody, so that's going to be it from us. We'll see you in the morning, bright and early. Well, it'll be fairly dim and early, but we'll see you then. And until then, stay safe and happy wherever you are in the world, and the dawn awaits us.
Bye-bye.
Steal my heart, I feel under the door. This is one of the words. Ah, yes. I feel my time is come. Let me in, unlock the door. I've never felt like this before, and the wheels just keep on turning. The drummer begins to drum. I don't know which way I'm going, I don't know where